Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tidbits. This is the show on fun speculation where we go through the week in gaming ahead and the game releases. And what a week this is because this week is the biggest game release of the year as well. I know it's December, so it's kind of late for that. Usually we kind of have the biggest releases in November, but as far as first party games at least goes, this is undoubtedly the biggest release of the year. And I would argue after the year that we've had this year, this with even with third party, this is turning out to be the biggest release of the year. So I appreciate everybody for either tuning in live to this now or watching after the fact. Whether you watch any of our other podcasts or shows, this is something maybe new for you, Tidbits. So I appreciate you checking it out. Um, as always, I have the amazing Fuzzy Belvedere here joining me. What's up, Fuzzy? How you doing, man?
How you doing, Mav? Great to be here. Thank you for having me. Man, this is an exciting week.
Yeah.
A lot of people been waiting for this week, so man, it's yeah, this is going to be fun. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
This week could have gone one of two ways, right? This week could have been like an oof week, or it could have been a ooh week. And I
Yeah,
think it's more of the ooh than the oof, right?
yeah.
So hey, it's got me excited and pumped this morning. I got a busy day ahead of me after this, but let's like, hey, let's take about like 45 minutes to an hour and just like dive into these games coming out with a lot of
Mhm.
special attention to one specifically, and we'll get there. And of course, that game I am talking about is Halo Infinite. So we're gonna take a look at some of the reviews and all that kind of stuff, and also, but we got to get there first because this show Tidbits is not just about Halo. It's also about the games releasing for the week, and there's not a lot because of potentially Halo, and also this the time of year it is as well. But
Yeah.
hey, Fuzz, let's get started with the first game on the list, and this list is also, as always, from GameInformer.com. They have a games releasing for the week list. It is not absolute complete. There's sometimes little things missing here and there, and we try and fill in the gaps where we can. However, they usually get the big dogs. So we're gonna start with the Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. I believe that is an expansion, right? Coming for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, PC, and Mac to the ever
Yeah.
so popular Final Fantasy 14. Bring it to Xbox. I implore you, please, Square Enix. The time has come. But hey, this is kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Especially for Final Fantasy fans.
Oh yeah, it's good to see that they got this DLC going. Like you said, looking forward to when it does land on Xbox, but we all know there's that unwritten contract that they have going on with Square Enix now. But pretty good to see that they got this DLC to drop now as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Um, I think I don't because Final Fantasy is like this online MMO. This I haven't played 14 at all because I played a lot of 11 online,
Mhm.
and even then in my like younger 20s at the time, it felt like a full-time job, right? Like it's just I could never get anything accomplished unless I felt like I had 8 hours to sit there, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of like I stopped playing at some point, and I loved it when I played it. I mean, it was absolutely
Mhm.
fantastic. But it's kind of kept me away from Final Fantasy 14. And I remember they had like the really bad launch. Then they like did the re-release, and then Final Fantasy 14 now has been crazy popular for a long time, and
Mhm.
this expansion is just continuing upon that. So it's been one of the most successful MMOs ever. Um,
Yeah.
and hey, props to them for another big expansion coming. There's an audience that wants to play your game, Square, with the Xbox. I would say go ahead and make it happen. You know, I don't know what kind of magic deals they've made over there at PlayStation, but surely they've expired by now, right? If that's the reason.
Hopefully.
Um, Shout out to Outbreak Podcast. Shout out to Steven Collum, Insane Cakes, Rick Payne. Hey, Steven, yes, this is also a big week because of the Game Awards as well. And Game Awards happening on the 9th. which is the day after Halo Infinite's actual release date. So that's really cool. And if you guys
Yeah.
want to watch that live here on the channel, we will be co-streaming the Game Awards as well, with a special edition of one of our shows, PM in the PM. Pong Soul and I are going to be live 30 minutes before the Game Awards and carry you all the way through to the end with a little bit of talk after as well. So looking forward to that. The Game Awards is a big week. It is this Thursday. So tune in live here on Fun Speculation. All right. Next up, Fuzzy, after Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker, we
Mhm.
have Gang Beast is
Gang
releasing
Beast.
on Switch. Yay.
Finally.
Yeah. We were talking about this beforehand. It seems like that it's almost like would be an assumption that would almost been the first platform it would have released on, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, with it being like a kind of like that couch co-op kind of fighter, I would have thought this was on Switch at launch day. I'm just realizing that it's landing now, but good that it's finally on Switch.
yeah. Um, Definitely. I remember my daughter really got into this game for a little while. Played it with her cousins a lot. I tried
Mhm.
it. It wasn't for me. I tried it. The Xbox does have this other game coming out. I think called like was it Party Animals or something like that. That looks very
Yeah.
similar. And
Mhm.
maybe that will be more up my alley. I'm not sure. Um, Rick Payton says he booted up Halo Wars 2 last night. Played maybe 30 minutes and love it already. I've never played any Halo Wars before. Why y'all kept this from me? Rick, I've been talking about Halo Wars several times. I keep telling people Halo Wars 2 is amazing. Um,
Mhm.
and especially that if you haven't played Halo Wars 2, before you play Halo Infinite, play Halo Wars 2. And not just the main story, but the expansions, because there's a lot there to introduce you to the new enemies that are going to be in Halo Infinite. Halo Wars 2 is the introduction of the Banished, um,
Mhm.
as well as you also get some other interesting things that are going to happen, especially if you play the expansions that I think could get you potentially excited if you're a Halo fan. So make sure before Halo Infinite, you give that Halo Wars 2 campaign a playthrough, or at least watch a YouTube video that breaks down the story events as well. Yeah, Gang Beast on
Yeah.
the Switch. That's really cool. Man, it's been out since 2017 on PS4 and PC. 4 years
Yeah.
later, making its way to the Switch. Wow. Okay. Hey, next up, Fuzzy.
Heavenly
Heavenly
Bodies.
Heavenly Bodies. That's this is an interesting name for a game. Heavenly Bodies.
Mhm.
You could potentially Google that and accidentally buy the wrong thing. So make sure that you are purchasing what you think you are when you Google up Heavenly Bodies. Um, Sup Anthony Chipmunk says best damn Halo launch box. Yeah. How long is it though, Rick? It's not that long. The campaign's not that long. Heavenly Bodies, though, I don't know. Could go on for days. Not sure. Heavenly Bodies platform is on the PS5, PS4, and PC. Developer 2 Point Interactive, publisher 2 Point Interactive. I'm gonna click on the official website because I have no clue what this is. Do you have any idea, Fuzzy? Have you heard of this?
No, I was thinking it was the one where I guess it was like you and your girlfriend would slide across the planet, but that was a different game that was like not too long ago in Game Pass. But
You and your
yeah,
girlfriend
this is
sliding across the planet in Heavenly Bodies. Yeah. Get your mind out of the gutter, Fuzzy. Come on.
no, no, there was a game in Game Pass like that where you had to get like some sort of fruit or whatever, and you've been cooking this like pear fruit for like months and stuff. They're
Okay.
like, oh, what do we have to cook? Oh, more of those pears. Oh, great.
Yeah.
It was a pretty decent game, but
Yeah.
no, this I think this is a bit different.
Yeah, this one you just eat peaches. Uh, yeah, it looks like it's a physics-based hookup chords game in space. Fix satellite dishes. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so it's like Gang Beast meets Among Us.
yeah. Well, I don't know, man. This is like it could be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like you're fixing stuff in space. and it's like a physics based grab it, move around type thing. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
it's got that Gang Beast physics looking thing. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of these types of games that keep coming out lately. So yeah, that's enough of Heavenly Bodies. If you're interested, um, yeah, go for it. Next up is Life is Strange. True Colors is making its way to Switch. This came out earlier this year.
Mhm.
And they gave it an 8.5 on Game Informer, which is a good score. And supposedly it's one of the better Life is Strange games. Yeah, I have
Mhm.
not played it yet. I think they released this as one full package. Is that right?
Yeah, and yeah, my son wound up playing through this and really enjoyed it. It's if no one's familiar with it, it's the one where I guess you have the power to kind of read people's emotions or something like that,
Hmm.
or redirect their emotions. So pretty interesting story. Definitely worth a playthrough. Finally on Switch, definitely give it a try.
Yeah. Um, yeah, 8.5 is is a good score. Like I don't know overall meta what it did, but I have heard good things about this game. I
Yeah.
uh I mean review scores aren't everything, and we'll talk about that again later. But I
Mhm.
think they matter to the overall impression of mind share feedback and stuff like that, as opposed to personal views about review scores, right? And this game seems to overall been doing very well. And also, from people that I've talked to that are into the series, have spoken really highly of it. Have you played it at all, Fuzz?
No, I haven't played it.
Okay.
Watched my son play a bit of it. I've been so into so many other games, I haven't gotten
Yeah.
around to it, but
Insurgency,
I'm
Sandstorm, and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, some Forza.
Which also is great. Insurgency Sandstorm is great, but I would recommend playing it with people you know.
Yeah.
And Forza, man, it's so good. I agree.
Mhm.
Next up, because we're only a couple away now from the big dog. All right. Now,
Yeah.
next up, we got to get to this one first. Spellforce 3 Reforced. It is coming out on the PlayStation 5, Series XS, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Mhm.
Spellforce 3 Reforced. There's absolutely no information here, except that it's a role playing game. I think this is a kind of um, fantasy style, like not tactics, but like
It
RTS style game.
yeah, it does look like it's gonna be kind of like an RTS or at worst, like, kind of like, not really worse, but, like, more of like a Diablo kinda
Hmm.
style, I think. So either RTS or Diablo style top-down view with a whole mess of enemies on screen on
Yeah.
some of it.
This is what it says for the product description. Spellforce 3 Reforce is a unique mix of an epic RPG storyline blended with accessible real-time strategy elements designed to offer a riveting console experience to fans and newcomers alike. It is the year 518. The rebellion of renegade mages known as the Mage Wars has been quashed by the crown. However, it was a Pyrrhic victory. Whole regions have fallen into anarchy. Refugees roam the lands in search of shelter, and a mysterious, deadly plague called the Bloodborne or the Bloodburn has arisen and is spreading rapidly. This looks pretty cool. I remember actually Pong was telling me about this game because he's into RTS. I like RTS games.
Mhm.
So I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on this, and it looks pretty
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it has some cool elements here that are catching my eye. So, $40 as well, and it launches, like I said, on PS5, Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and that comes out tomorrow.
Mhm.
Sup Parent Pluck, sup Louie, sup 3-Bit. How are y'all doing? Anthony Chipmunk. All right. White Shadows, Fuzzy. Heard of this one?
Yeah. No, but
No?
I'm starting to wonder if this may have been one that was like one of those, ID at Xbox sizzle reel
Yeah.
type deals.
Maybe. there's not a lot of info here. If I click on purchase, it just takes me to the to buy a T-shirt from My Hero Academia. So if you want to, this it's not it's a pretty cool looking shirt though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was got Deku and uh yeah. If
Kind of has like a, at least on the PC end of things, looking at like Steam, it
yeah
kind of looks like it's a almost like an inside style
yeah, it
game.
kind of is. The box art's giving me like a limbo slash inside vibe.
Yeah.
So, you know, I it's a game. Hey, everybody, there's a game coming out called White Shadows that Game Informer doesn't know anything about, so neither do I. Uh, but you know what? We'll move on quickly from that. If you're interested in a limbo or inside style game, check out White Shadows and find out more information. I want to
Yeah.
get to the big dog. This is why we're all here because, like we said at the beginning of the show, this could have been a oof moment or this could have been a ooh, you know. And according to this score and also numerous others, Halo Infinite is a good game. Oh, sigh of relief. Oh, can it's like it's like a weight off of every Halo fan's chest. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay,
Yeah.
what's the overall impression and reaction going to be? Are we going to have this like overwhelmingly like sense of, oh, not this again, right? Or this, hey, I'm gonna play through it, but know that like the overall community isn't excited for it. You know, like sometimes the lack of hype and enjoyment just around everything else can sometimes just kind of like dampen the overall excitement for a lot of people, like because you feel like okay, it's
Mhm.
just you're more isolated. And this is like you,
Yeah.
hey, everybody, Halo Infinite's good, and I'm gonna sing its praises because everybody else is as well, right?
Yeah.
It's doing well, and the review scores we're currently sitting at a 87 on Metacritic, and it launches on the 8th, Series X, S, Xbox One, and PC. This morning, I watched Ryan McCaffrey's review for IGN.
Mhm.
Regardless of what you guys think about IGN or Ryan McCaffrey and all those things, I personally have always found his reviews and overall impressions of Halo to be spot on because he definitely is a true Halo fan. If you have been following him and his scores and his thoughts on Halo for a long time, I kind of trust his opinion on things regarding Halo, right?
Yeah.
And he gave it a 9. He said there was a couple of story things that he was kind of fell a little flat for him, but overall in his 25-hour playthrough, he said it was a return to form. It was the true imprint of 343's Halo, and this is going to be a definite comeback for the franchise. So that
Yeah.
is exciting to me as well. Fuzzy, being a person that has not been into Halo traditionally in the past, right? Yeah, you're
Mhm.
on record as saying,
Yeah. I'm new to
you
the
didn't really
franchise.
you didn't understand really what all the hype was about looking from the other side back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Where does this sit with you now that you see all these scores? For example, even Game Informer here giving it a 9.25.
Mhm.
Is this like kind of
It's real
settle for you?
encouraging. Well, see, the biggest thing for me, like I was one of the few that probably enjoyed playing Halo 5.
Hmm.
I understand it may not have, rang true for a lot of the,
Yeah.
diehard Halo fans, but it was an interesting, storyline to play through, completed the campaign and was, pretty happy with it. But seeing like some of the teaser trailers that we've seen, what they're like releasing, some of the side story stuff as far as like their advertising and whatnot, hearing the reviews coming back, it's definitely got me excited because I'm big into sci-fi and shooters or like my second favorite genre other than racing games. So
Hmm.
definitely been looking forward to this one and hearing that, whether it's Halo like longtime fans or even ones that are kind of like could take it or leave it kind of as
Mhm.
far as some of the reviewers. All of them giving it glowing reviews in reference to how the story pacing is set, the environment that you're working with, and things along those lines. Me being an open world fan as well, I'm definitely looking forward to this, and I can't wait to see the different ways of approaching some of these, story mission bases that you have to approach and things like that. But definitely, definitely excited for this one.
Yeah. 100%, man. I think, like, this is going to be the, like, first true statement made by 343, right?
Mhm.
And this is not the other thing is, like, this is, the start of what to them is, like, their this again, like they've been saying, a 10-year plan, right? All this, includes the free-to-play multiplayer, it includes this campaign and all of
Mhm.
that. And I think that we're going to be in store for an exciting 10 years at least when it comes to this game.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that's going to unfold, but it seems like overall, you're talking about a 25-hour playthrough of the campaign is how long it took Ryan McCaffrey. That
Mhm.
seems very, I'm very content with that. As far
Yeah.
as how much is direct story is different in a Halo like this because there's so much other stuff to do, right? So
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting. I mean, it's kind of like I said before. It's like it's coming together as that like dream Halo game I had ever since I played CE,
Mhm.
and kind of like, hey, where could Halo go in the future potentially? And like that sandbox style gameplay. This is like the next. This is the evolution of that. It's almost like built for this formula, but technology in the past has kept it back, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like this is really approaching that next level, and with some caveats because of how big this is, and I think everything that they undertook. There are a little bit of things that they said was kind of missing, like a lack of diversity within the ring. The different biomes were limited,
Mhm.
right? Whereas you're pretty much in
Yeah.
one biome the whole game. And the other thing was that the story didn't fully answer a lot of the questions that people are going to have, and that's where I think the extended content down the line is going to come into play.
Yeah.
And But what it seems like what they got right with this game, if from all the reviews, is the core elements of what makes Halo a truly great game and franchise, and going
Mhm.
back to the core of what that is and starting there and building a new engine and new tech and new gameplay elements and new gameplay loop to really reinvigorate the franchise. And like I remember seeing some people say that, hey, hopefully, like, they don't fall flat on their face, and like Xbox and Microsoft can keep this
Keep the momentum
yeah,
going.
I was looking for the word, keep the momentum going, right?
Mhm.
And this they have now, right? Like, cuz if this game came out and got like an 80 even, which is a good score,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It got an 80 or a 79, a 78, that would have been like that would have been like, oh, hey everybody, look, see, like another failure by blah blah blah, like blah blah blah. But no,
Yeah.
it's sitting at an 87 now. I'm gonna go to these meta scores real quick. It's sitting at an 87 now
Mhm.
on on Metacritic, right? Yeah, nobody can really say anything to that, especially when some of the best games on any platform right now are all sitting at around that level, right? I mean, that's
Mhm.
at this day and age, like a 87 today is like a 93, 94 from like 10, 15 years ago. I'm
True.
just being honest. Like
Yeah.
it's harder and harder for these games to get in those 90 scores. The like Halo CE was a 97, and I keep seeing people refer to that. I'm like, oh, it's a big fall off from the original. You know what I mean? Games back then got scores like that. They don't get those scores today. You
No,
know?
there's so much to games now, and I think because there's so much to games, there's so much more expectation, and it's like there's already demerits for whether this is missing or oh this didn't follow what the fan fiction would have been type of thing. So it's like I yeah, and 87 is a really good score these days for a game that
Hmm.
is twofold, like a single player campaign and multiplayer, and having all of those, work well together. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there's too many, dual purpose games out there like that that are really beating that, especially in the first person shooter genre. So,
Yeah. And I guarantee you there's going to be like just like it always is, right? There's going to be a couple of things that stick out in the reviews that are going to be like the negatives, right?
mhm,
Like the things that we just talked about, with the
yeah.
story and the biome and stuff like that. And then people are going to focus on that. And that's like the only things they're going to talk about or care about is the flaws. And this is like, okay. This goes into the whole like attention to negative thing that I've been on this like mega fight against over the last week or two, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to Halo's multiplayer and it comes to Battlefield as well. This like
Mhm,
this ultra focus on negative when everything is like overwhelmingly positive, right? But you got this like one or two things that are out there and then it's like the only thing that anybody talks about, the only thing that people care about, the only thing that they keep referring to, the only thing that they keep thinking about. It's like why? Why there's so many great things to be excited about with this that everybody is reviewing this really
mhm,
high and
yeah.
obviously it wasn't that big of a knock for them to drop their scores, right? Like
Yeah.
if these issues that are m- uh according to all these reviewers, minor, right?
Mhm.
Because of their overall like 90s and scores. Why does that have to be such a big deal to everybody else that that's the only things that they focus on? It's just like a problem with just overall mentality of like the gamers and stuff. It's like hardcore focus on negative can take
Mhm.
your excitement and interest in something away, right? And
Yeah.
if you're that kind of person, that's fine. But like there's like a glass half empty person, and then there's a glass half full, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at that water bottle and it's sitting there 90% full, and you're only looking at the 10% that you don't get, and you're pissed off about it, then you got like that's not a very good balance to
No.
have. You know what I mean? So, it like 90% of a glass full is a lot of water, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, just be excited for all the great things that they're doing and like ease off of 343 and give them the props that they are due when they have clearly built a fantastic game.
Not just that, like, they're being completely transparent when it comes to,
Hmm.
um, communication with the gaming community and making them aware of some of the changes and updates and feedback that they're going through, to kind of work on the things that people have been asking for. Um, Given that this game went through the year delay, they took the time to massage and polish this and have it where it's going to come out where I'm not hearing any of the reviewers feel like because normally like even like your I guess you would say more down to earth reviewers like ACG,
Hmm.
like normally they'll tell you, hey, this was with the day one patch, or there's a day one patch pending. These are the bugs I found with the patch or without the patch. Not really hearing that. Hearing good things about how the AI are more dynamic. It almost feels like you're going through like an actual squad that you're fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're all have unique, lines, but it's like you have to go through a lot of different bases to kind of find any like repeating, dialogue and things along those lines. So it seems like they spent the extra time to make the world feel alive and then adjust to how you play. and kind of keep you on your toes. So it's it's a big step up compared to other first person shooter storylines where the AI are just as like looking at Vanguard, it's like, oh, you shoot the one guy and the next guy comes out, you throw a grenade and he dies. And the one that was just around the corner saw that and he still comes out there without shooting at you first. So it's like, yeah, the fact that they have so much that they've worked on and gotten right with this right out the bat. I'm pretty stoked as far as looking forward to this thing come Wednesday afternoon. But yeah, the pylon mentality, it just seems like certain games like Battlefield 2042, somebody had their radar on it, and unfortunately it's getting the brunt of the pylon mentality. Same thing with Mass Effect Andromeda, which was another game I really enjoyed. I
Yeah.
understand it wasn't quite up to the standard of the first three or the trilogy, but it was, yes, the eyes, they looked a little you know less realistic, but there were a few other well-received games whose eyes of the characters weren't always the greatest, although the explanation is they were robots, talking about Horizon Zero Dawn. But nobody really complained about the eyes on Alloy or any of the other characters. But oh yeah, they're robots, so yeah, it's expected they're going to look like that. But
Hmm.
yeah, I the the pylon, it needs to settle down, at least play through the game, give the feedback. If there is a true issue as far as with the game itself, submit tickets. I've, me being a big Forza fan, I've had to submit a couple of tickets. They fixed a few things and then broke a few things. So,
Yeah.
patience being, hey, I'll just let them, continue working on it and come back to it when they get some things fixed. But yeah, for the most part, even like with Forza Horizon 5, overall, oh, it's steps above in comparison for me compared to 4. It's just, some growing pains that they gotta, work on. But I think with the campaign here on this one in 87, the only real things I saw were, like you said, the negatives being the story. And then, there was that one, was it not Push Square? I forget the other one. There was like, oh yeah, no campaign or no co-op and no forge at launch. But it's like a few others mentioned it, and it's like, you know what? After playing through the campaign and knowing that there's more content coming, that's like the smallest thing on their mind. The rest
Yeah.
of the story is what kind of drew them into the whole you know time of their playthrough. So
Yeah, I think a big part of that is like pre expectations from a diehard Halo fans. Like we said before, like Halo has more expectations than any other game franchise. Period. Like there's so much preconceived stuff that like they have to hit the check mark on. And this is the
mhm,
most different Halo game that's ever been released. That's a traditional mainline Halo game. Like all the other ones really fit the same formula overall.
mhm,
After CE, because like there's 2, 3, 4, 5, in even ODST. Like a lot of them had the same formula. I would say ODST was also very different, but this is like mainline. Like this is Halo 6, pretty much, right? So like,
mhm.
this is the next mainline Halo game, and it's so different than any other Halo game we've ever had. But it's also core gameplay wise the most true to Halo than it's ever been, and since the original trilogy, right? So
Yeah.
it's they've like done so many interesting things here. Now, when I look at like, okay, what's missing, right? Again, you got that glass half full, glass half empty thing. Yeah, you got to look at it and say, what are you getting for your if you purchase the game, what are you getting for your $60, right? Or if you're
Mhm.
playing the free to play multiplayer right now, what are you getting for your $0, right? And I think some people look at it as too much of a comparison of the old, right? When this is a new day and age now, right? This is a new
Yeah.
era. This is a new era for Halo. This is a different formula going forward. And some would argue, yeah, we didn't ask for that. The Halo fans didn't want that. But guess what? Like just because Halo fans didn't necessarily want that, that's not dictated necessarily at times by Halo fans. It's dictated by what the gaming industry and the market dictates for big franchises going forward and what's going to
Yeah.
make them successful or not successful. And they have to look at all of these situations and make the best plans for the franchise. Same idea when they decided that they were going to make the new game engine. That's a big
Mhm.
undertaking. Could they have skated by using the old engine again? Yes, but would it have served the game well? No, right? They had to go and do that, and it was a hard decision to make. They
Yeah.
chose to go with the free to play formula for the multiplayer because for the game's health in the multiplayer, that's the best decision to make, right? So with that comes change. It comes change, and it's hard for people, especially gamers, to accept change with all of
True.
that undertaking, and then with COVID and all these things, and then you look at Forge is missing. These game modes are missing. These playlists are missing, right?
Mhm.
Then, but you got to take a step back. Okay, what did they accomplish? What did they create? What did they make? Are we only going to focus on the things that are not there, or are we going to judge the game for what is there? Apex Legends, free to play multiplayer game. It launched with one game mode, one map,
Yeah. Yeah.
one game mode, and one map. Did anybody at the time complain about lack of content? No one.
Nah.
One game mode and one map. Fortnite, Battle Royale, free to play, launched with
Mhm.
one game mode and one map. Now, you could argue that the progression was better in some of those games, but you look
Mhm.
at what Halo has delivered already with the content that they've put forth. It exceeds most other games, right? That are in the
Yeah.
free to play model. Now, okay, we compare that now to Halo 5, Halo 4, Halo 3, Halo 2, a Halo Reach. What's missing, right? The things that are
Mhm.
missing, they're addressing, they're bringing it out in this free to play formula as well. It's different than a normally things would be released because it has to click within the system. Custom games,
Mhm.
they're still adding content to that. They're adding an add Forge. All this stuff's is gonna happen. What they have released and what has come out and the free to play multiplayer has well exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
Overly exceeded my expectations. Progression needs work. Customization needs work. 343 knows
Mhm.
this. They're addressing this. They come out with statements. Death threats, attacks, constant post, just endless post about it is not going to help the situation at all, right? It's only going to deter players potentially from even playing the game.
Yeah.
Focus on a lot of the great aspects that are there, and you will find that it's the best multiplayer game released this year. Well, maybe Forza Horizon 5 can also stake a claim in there as well, but for shooters, for
Mhm.
sure,
Yeah.
Halo Infinite is the best multiplayer shooter that is released this year. Then, on top of this, now you have this campaign that industry wide, journalists wide, it has received universal acclaim, universal
Mhm.
praise. Talking about 20 plus hours of content in a game, $60 game. You have a lot of games that come out $60. Resident Evil Village, right?
Mhm.
Get 8 to 10 hours in it, right?
Yeah.
No extra content in that. It's supposed to have a multiplayer thing. I haven't seen it yet, right? Judge this game, not comparing it to anything else, but what it is. And that's what I think the reviewers are doing here finally and accepting
Mhm.
this new vision and what Halo's going to be going forward. Finding that there's plenty of content here at launch, that there is way more and way enough value for the $60 that people are going to be asked to spend, or nothing extra if you already have it in Game Pass. And
Mhm.
they are giving it universal praise. So for
Yeah.
other people that have this fake concern about stuff like that, or to have only focus on the little negative aspects that get pointed out, is pointless. Because look at what they have achieved. They have come out and they put their stamp on the Halo franchise, and they are moving forward into a new generation for Halo fans and welcoming a new generation of Halo fans as well.
Yeah.
Um, exciting times. Let's go over some of these review comments from Metacritic real quick.
Mhm.
Okay, so GameSpeed, I think I don't know if this was Jeff Grubb that reviewed it for GameSpeed. I think it was. Said, consider me a Halo fan now. I was never really looking forward to Halo Infinite, but now that it's here, it's so much more than what I was expecting. That's a 10 out of 10 reviewer score there. All right, so and I will add to this. Jeff Grubb is not afraid to give a game a low score if he doesn't like it. He's just going to be
Yeah.
straightforward. And in fact, his Forza Horizon 5 score I think was lower than most. Um, let's see. I'm just going to scroll through. Um, okay, Game Informer 93, or as you see on this 9.25, I guess they round up the 9.25 to 93. So
Mhm.
it says, like many, I'm sad that Halo Infinite doesn't offer cooperative multiplayer at launch, if only because it's been a bulwark of the series' identity. It's a disappointing omission, but I have to judge the game before me. Exactly what we're talking about, right? Judging the game for
Yeah.
what it is, not what it isn't, right? Is there enough content here? Um, I have to judge the game before me, not the features I wish might be there. And by that measure, Halo Infinite is a rousing success. Whether you want a big, mysterious sci fi adventure or a chance to engage with some intense PvP, Halo Infinite nails the shots where it counts and heralds a new era for one of gaming's most recognizable mainstays.
Yeah.
I appreciate that they put that in the review, like specifically, because this has been a problem with games in the past. In fact, Halo 5, additionally, was reviewed a lot for what it wasn't as opposed to what it is.
Yeah.
Games have that problem a lot of times with reviewers. Do you see that at times, like judging a game, comparing it to other things, and wishing it had other
Yeah.
things, so you knock it? You know what I mean?
It's especially when it's like another one in within the series. Because the big thing is then that typecasts the game and the dev team into just basically making the same game over and over. Doesn't give them room to grow, doesn't give the story much room to grow. So yeah, I've seen it in the past, and I've also seen where there's like a, this brand versus that brand's, similar genre game, where it's like, oh, this is going to be a Halo killer, or this
Hmm.
is going to be a Forza killer. And it's like, you can't do that, because a lot of times those other games bring something different that's nice and unique, that if you're just going to solely compare it to the previous, then there's no room for innovation in the game itself. But yeah, I'm glad there are reviewers now just basically looking at the goods in front of them and like, hey, basing this review on the goods in front of me, the
Yeah,
game that I've just played, it's this, as
yeah,
opposed to, well, I wanted it to be this, and so I'm going to score it negatively because it wasn't that.
yeah,
Is a good move for that reviewer.
yeah. That review was from Matt Miller. So hey, Matt Miller, I am now a fan of you, sir, because for pointing that out, like that's something that's always been a glaring thing with me with reviewers and the way that they approach reviews. It's good to actually make a point to make it clear. You got to review it for
Mhm.
what it is, not what you
Yeah.
wish it could be, not what you wish it was, and your expectations going into it, right? Let's see. Let's look up. I'm trying to look for like some of the bigger comicbook.com. Okay, 90. It has taken over 6 years for Halo Infinite to release. But after such a long wait, 343 has given fans the game that they've been holding out for. Although it might not win many points for originality, the latest entry in Xbox's flagship franchise has again verified why Halo is one of the most popular gaming properties on the planet. Even though the series is now 2 decades old, Halo Infinite proves that there is still plenty of creative juice left in the tank to make Halo feel fresh and relevant in the modern landscape. In simplest terms, Halo is back.
Nice.
Halo, man, some of these guys are good writers. Halo is back, baby. Let's go.
Mhm.
Um, All right, so um, GameSpot. Okay, Halo Infinite strives to transform what it means to be a Halo game, making Chief into a reluctant father figure for a young and naive AI and putting him into an open world setting. It's interesting they said that because, like, I mentioned that in a trailer before, like, at the 6 minute trailer, like, it kind of seemed like, whereas, like, him and Cortana almost had this, like, couples relationship, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was almost like this new AI, it was almost like a father daughter relationship, and that was spewing. I'm interested that they caught on to that, and after a full playthrough, that's where they're going with this. So,
Hmm.
um, putting him into an open world setting. It turns out that was a risk worth taking for the franchise, as Infinite is an incredible game. Certain story elements are on the weaker side, and the amazing grapple shot makes the rest of Chief's equipment feel a bit lacking in comparison. But these are small shortcomings, and what otherwise feels like the best Halo campaign in years, and an excellent evolution of what Halo can be. Now,
Nice.
the cynic will read this and be like, only focus on the fact that they said certain story elements are on the weaker side. What the hell's going on? They screwed up Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you know. That's I already see that stuff out there, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. 90 from GameSpot. That's a good score.
Nice.
All right, IGN Fuzzy.
Hmm.
This is Ryan McCaffrey. Um, Again, I alluded to his review earlier in this show. It says Halo Infinite single player campaign is exactly what the series needed. It brings out the best in Master Chief's unique and satisfying combat style while leveraging old ideas to create memorable new moments. Its story falls short for both new and veteran players, but it was worth the 6 year wait.
Nice.
Again, same feedback, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of the tones and stuff are really consistent. And you see these scores, guys. I mean, I'm going to go and see one of the lower scores here because all these others are pretty much the same. I mean, you got lots of 80s, you got lots of 80 mid 80s, you got lots of 90s, and you got higher. You got several higher. And I'm curious, this is based on 69 scores currently. I'm curious where this is going to go if any of these more of these reviews start coming out. So let's go to the lowest score here that I see so far, and that's from Screen Rant. It's plausible Halo Infinite will eventually become an era-defining game, one that reestablishes as a dominant shooter franchise, but it's not there yet, and there's no telling when it will be. So again, they're probably focusing on the lack of stuff in the
Hmm.
game, not necessarily judging it for what it has currently, but that's fine. Um,
Yeah.
Let's see. New Game Network. I'm not familiar with this website. They say Halo Infinite offers a brief campaign with uneven writing and a functional but safe implementation of the new open world levels. It's still a great shooter with strong core mechanics that help carry the experience, but as multiplayer is now standalone and free, the value proposition of this full price solo adventure is rather diluted. So it seems like they're focusing on the length of the story aspects and the
Hmm.
value. Whereas when Ryan McCaffrey's review said 25-hour playthrough, that doesn't scream to me as a lack of content in a $60 game,
No.
as opposed to comparing it necessarily to the suite of things that other Halo games have launched with.
Kind of
So,
curious how they rated what do you call it, Vanguard in its campaign.
yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Like you could go through and you could probably like see a lot of contradictions because also websites have different reviewers, right? And one
Yeah.
reviewer's opinion may be completely different than another. But I've seen similar reviewer, like the same reviewer, right, review games before and have the same criteria, and then completely obliterate one game for,
Hmm.
and then not even acknowledge the fact of another game's similar shortfalls, right? So it just
Yeah.
depends on what they're into, what they like, right? Halo's always a very divisive game, I think. More so than most, you know. And to overcome all that and still get an 87, I predicted, like I put on Discord before the reviews came out, that it was going to get an 85. right?
Mhm.
And for me, that 85 bar is what I felt like it needed not to get shit on,
Yeah.
right? Like I felt like if they hit that 85 mark, it was going to be like, okay, this is a good game and everybody's going to be happy. You know what I mean? Like with the overall impression from the media. And
Mhm.
anything below that, I felt like there's going to be a lot of people talking shit unnecessarily because it's still a good score, right? But
Yeah.
I felt like 85 was like that mark. You know, it's kind of like that barometer. 85 or above is like excellent nowadays. It to
Oh,
me, it's
yeah.
almost like an 85 is like what used to be a 90 with game
Yeah.
reviews, right? It's just kind of the way it's gone. To get an 87, um, I feel like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this game probably would have gotten a 92, 93, 94, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of the way that reviews have gone. And I think that it's man, it's excellent. So Halo fans, Xbox fans, this game coming to Game Pass day one should be extremely happy. You get to play it
Mhm.
what at 12 p.m. on Wednesday or yeah Wednesday I think on the 8th. So
Something like that. It's like, yeah, Wednesday afternoon. Man, yeah, I can just see it now. The Azure servers are going to be hitting overload with a lot of
oof.
downloads.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, I think this actually these scores are a little bit higher than what I was expecting because I was expecting so many of the reviewers to kind of hold it against them as far as the the co-op and the forge part. So I was like 83 on the low end, 86 on the high end,
hmm
just because I figured they're going to automatically deduct like 2 to 5 points
yeah,
on that. But it's good to see that even with that, it's still holding at 87. And yeah,
yeah,
I would say as a new to Halo fan, yeah, this is exciting news. And man, Wednesday can't come soon enough.
yeah. Dude, I agree. And something else I want to point out that I'm really happy about and I'm excited about so far. The overall gaming media, I'm pleased with you today, right? And I'll tell you why. Because in the past, with Halo games and even other games, right? I feel like there's usually one glaring review that is like a 4 out of
Yeah.
10 or like a 5 out of 10, and it's just like completely off the wall, but that gets scored heavily within Metacritic's formula still, right? And like I said, Metacritic isn't like I personally, for me, don't care what a game's Metacritic score is for my own personal enjoyment, right? It does
Mhm.
not matter to me. But to say it doesn't matter at all is naive to overall mind share, to the console manufacturers, to like the platform holders, to the publishers, to the developers, to the casual fan that just goes and decides like, oh, it got a 70. Oh, I'm gonna wait. You know what I mean? Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of that goes on, right? So it does matter, right? It does matter. And that's when these like random reviewers sometimes like have these clickbait reviews that get counted within the meta, right?
Mhm.
It's just like irritates the crap out of me because it's so some of it's like so off base, you know? Um and
It'll be
I
something
haven't
random like
yeah.
there's like, oh, there's too much harm to animals in the game. The wildlife is in the line of fire. Like
Yeah.
4 out of 10. What?
Yeah. So weird stuff, right? And it gets counted in this like aggregate score, that's like for the mainstream, and it can bring like a score down from like a 90 to like an 88 sometimes, right? Because it's like so
Yeah.
dramatically lower than everything else. I haven't seen that at all yet with Halo Infinite. We may still see it. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope a flood of those don't just all of a sudden pop up because people want clicks, right?
Yeah.
But so far it's been overwhelmingly positive. And now we also have to take into account here. There's a lot of scorers that I value their opinion and I trust their recommendations and stuff. Reviewers that write for different sites that have YouTube channels that leave reviews and all these things, and they have released a lot of content today because they were also provided with review copies, and their scores aren't counted in this either, right? Because they don't get picked up by Meta, right?
Yeah.
And the overall sense from the main audience here that's been getting these preview copies, there's review copies, sorry, is overwhelmingly positive. So thank you. Also, thank you to all of the journalists, reviewers, YouTubers, anybody who gets these copies ahead of time and puts in that work to play these games in time, all to fulfillment, and then also have enough time to put out these videos and articles with pictures and lots of information. It's a lot of work. People don't realize sometimes like these things, they can suck the enjoyment out of some of this stuff because you're sitting there, you have a deadline. You know what I mean? So shout out to everybody that did it and did it seem for such a big release. Pretty professional, it seems like, with this.
Yeah.
So hey, Halo Infinite, man. Halo's back, baby. Let's go. Right? Let's go. Now, anybody doubting it now? STFU. Okay. Just moving on from that. Next up on the list. I knew we were gonna spend a little bit of time on Halo. But next up is Loop Hero.
Yeah.
Coming out for the Switch. 8.5 review from Game Informer back in March on PC. And I don't know what this is, but
it looks like a kind of like a puzzle maze kind of game kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to click on this launch trailer here. That's not Loop Hero, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait.
No, that's an ad for Cozy.
No, that
okay. I was like, that's not Loop Hero. It's giving me like old school Zelda vibes. Next roguelike breakout hit. Cool art style. Bleed style and innovation. Low-key addictive.
Makes for a good portable game.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's coming out on the Switch. LoopHero.com. Hey, everybody. Loop Hero. That looks interesting. Like Fuzzy was saying, good mobile game, good handheld game, potentially. So, apparently it's decent. Like, you know, Game Informer said 8.5 on that sucker. We got another one here, Fuzzy. Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX. Hey, later, Key. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX. Man, this is an old franchise.
Yeah.
Switch, PC, iOS on the 9th. That's the day of the Game Awards. So this Game Awards, I predict, is going to be all Monster Rancher trailers, right? No, I'm just kidding. It's Monster Rancher Returns, a new bundle for Switch and PC. That's cool. Did you ever play Monster Rancher back in the day?
No, but looking at this, it definitely looks more fun than Slime Rancher right now.
Yeah.
But no, this is definitely a new looking game for me.
Yeah, this I remember. I think Monster Rancher, didn't it used to come out on the PlayStation 1? I think it goes back to those days. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
There was a game franchise where like you could like put in like CDs and like different media had like unlocked different monsters or something. Maybe I don't remember if that was this franchise or if it was something else. So Brutal Enigma. And yeah, 3-bit. Hey, some publishers do get bonuses because of higher scores. I remember that being a thing. I don't know. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that because like I don't think like people's money an income should be tied to random people's opinions that I absolutely have no like. There's not like a license to be a game reviewer, you know. Like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get certified and go get my attend school for 8 years and become a licensed games journalist reviewer, and where my scores count towards your income. I deem what you earn because of my opinion. No, that's bullshit. I don't agree with that.
Just kind of reminds me of the meme of like the Yahoo like restaurant reviewer. Like, don't you know who I am?
Yeah.
I'm restaurant reviewer 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man, it's ridiculous. It's like some Johnny Whack dick that just started reviewing games like for some new from a big publication. Uh I don't like this game. There's not enough turtles in it. You know? I'm going to give it a 6, you know? And you make 20,000 less dollars that year because of he caused your aggregate to go down by 1 point, which missed you your bonus. Screw that, you know? I that's one of the stupidest things in gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monster Rancher. um, okay. Witchwood. With a Y. Witchwood with a Y comes out on December 9th. Platforms are PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So this Witchwood game is releasing on everything.
Yeah.
And okay, the Witchwood tells a fairy tale this fall. Okay, it looks like it is a man. Gameplay revolves around collecting and combining various spell ingredients gathered from different animals, plants, and monsters in the world. So it's kind of
Reminds
like
me
a
of,
collection type game,
yeah, I can't remember the name of the game, but there was
survival
a
maybe.
game in Game Pass that had like a similar look, but it was like you would collect audio tapes and other random things to like use different powers, and then you'd have like little minion things that would follow you and could pick up rocks and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Mhm.
Well, that's I mean, it's not a besides Halo Infinite. I mean, you got some games releasing on other platforms finally, like Life is Strange, Gang Beast,
Mhm.
Loop Hero. You got Spellforce 3 Reforced is coming. You got Heavenly Bodies. Um, and then you got the Final Fantasy 14 expansion. But man, this week is purely dominated by Halo. Now I
Yeah.
remember something that was supposed to be releasing this week,
Yeah.
Dying Light 2. I think they announced the delay of that like a week after Halo Infinite announced its release date.
Yep. They're like, we're
Um,
getting out of the way.
yeah.
We stand a
So
better chance against Horizon Forbidden West.
yeah, which like I'm excited about Dying Light 2 as well. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
great, but yeah, this week's gonna be all Halo. You're gonna see Halo campaign on this channel. Gonna be playing it live when it releases.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna have my I'm not I'm gonna do this differently, guys. I know you're used to my game streams. You see me, we're kind of like hanging out, interacting a lot, shooting the shit,
Mhm.
This is gonna be different, right? Halo's very like uh special game to me franchise, and like I just like don't I honestly don't want like a lot of distraction when I'm playing through the game, but I still want to experience the playthrough with the channel members and stuff and subscribers if they want to watch the content. So what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do is I'm just gonna have the game up. I'm just gonna play the game, right? What you see will be my experience playing, purely. So not a bunch of other hoopla and stuff like that. And that's how I'm planning on playing the Halo Infinite campaign. Now it could change up. Like let's say I get into this like formula where I'm just running around doing random shit, right? I could at that point, kind of open it up and stuff. But we'll see. That's my
Yeah.
plan right now. And like I said, also, hey guys, on the 9th, the Game Awards is happening. Do the awards matter? They matter, but not
Yeah.
to me. Like they matter as much as like meta scores do, where they matter for the overall impression and public opinion and all these kind of things. But personally, to me, they don't matter. But that's not why we watch, right? Oh, what's the reason we all watch the Game Awards?
World premiere.
That's exactly right. Right? 100%. We want to see those trailers. We want to see new glimpses at some of the games that we are expecting to be releasing in the next few years. We want to see new game reveals. And that is always the thing that gets me excited the most because it gives me another thing to be excited about.
Yep.
And I think this year, just like the last couple years of the Game Awards, we're going to get new game reveals. Elden Ring was teased for the first time at the Game Awards. Hellblade
Hmm.
2 was shown for the first time at the Game Awards. Perfect Dark was shown for the first time at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Was Avowed shown for the first time at the Game Awards, or was that at E3? I can't remember.
I think that may have been
May have been
E3,
E3. I'm not sure.
looking back at the Series X unveiling, we kind of got somewhat of a glimpse at
Hmm.
Forza Horizon without us knowing it was Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah.
If you rewatch the unveiling trailer, it's like, oh wait, that is Mexico with cactus and part of the desert the car is driving through. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to whatever Xbox or any other developer or publisher has to show. And I have a feeling we're going to get a handful of surprises all around. So
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be the biggest one, Fuzzy.
Yeah.
Like just judging by what we got at E3 this past year, like
Hmm.
Xbox hit it out of the park, right? This
Yeah.
at E3, but nobody else really showed up, right? And
Hmm.
even PlayStation's event that they had later on, they had some cool stuff, but they didn't really like go all in, right?
Yeah.
Um, Nintendo's really not shown much at all, this past
Yeah.
year. Um, I think that if you also think about all the multi-plat publishers and stuff that didn't really show up too much for E3. Like Ubisoft didn't have a whole lot. They had some decent stuff, but like
Hmm.
we know that there's things that they're making that they didn't show. Um
Yeah.
we know about games that EA has, Dragon Age, and so on, that we
Hmm.
haven't really seen anything from. We know like Take Two, like what are they doing besides remasters? Like I mean, they're half-assed remasters. Like we just don't know a lot out there from the
Yeah.
multi-plat publishers. Square keeps announcing stuff that is like making deals with people and stuff on different games,
Hmm.
but I think we're in store for some really big announcements at this show.
Yeah.
Timing wise, we're a year into the new consoles now as well. At this time,
Hmm.
usually we start to get some of these reveals of like what we're gonna get in the middle of the generation, right? 23,
Yeah.
24. And based on Xbox, especially with the amount of games that they have coming, they got to take advantage of every opportunity of a big showcase to reveal some things. It's just numbers at that point, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
numbers game. They have too much to reveal and only certain opportunities to make the biggest impact. A show like this has a massive impact, and we've seen them go big the last couple of Game Awards.
Yeah.
Do I expect it to change with this? No, I expect it to be even bigger because the last two Game Awards was a huge success for them with
Hmm.
their reveals, right? So I expect them to utilize this and attract more players to the platform by revealing new games that are exclusive to the platform as well. Same as
Yeah.
everybody else. And it's going to be insane. It's going to be the biggest one ever with reveals and trailers, in my opinion. If it's not, I'll be surprised. So we're gonna bring that to you live with a special edition of PM in the PM because it's on Thursday and that's when we usually do PM in the PM. So me and
Mhm.
Pong are going to be going live 30 minutes before the show, and we're going to watch the show live with you guys. We're official co-streamer, all that nonsense stuff. So we're going to be
Mhm.
watching the show, me and Pong, and we're going to give our impressions once the show's over. So tune in again to that. That's on the 9th. That's this Thursday. Appreciate it if you do. If you don't, that's fine too. But I hope to see you guys there. And
Yeah.
other than that, hey Fuzzy, what you got anything coming up or like you want to shout out real quick or
Oh, yeah, definitely enjoyed my time here. It's always fun doing tidbits with you. Uh, man, Halo's week. It's everybody cleared the path for Halo, and it was well worth doing. So this is going to be a big week for them. This Saturday, you can find me on FSP Fun Speculation Podcast with you and Key. Looking forward to that at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, and then later that night the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam, Pong Soul, and Centurion 1307. Yeah, we'll be talking shop and winding down the week of gaming news, and hopping on and playing some more games afterwards. So man, it's always awesome. This it's like gaming Christmas come early,
mhm.
and it's just going to go up from here, especially with you and Pong doing that co-stream thing on Thursday. Yeah, these game awards are going to be pretty big.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for doing this with me every week, Fuzzy. Spending your time hanging out and helping out with this show. I appreciate you, and also FSP. FSP has been a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing that on
Yeah.
Saturdays. So check out, like Fuzzy said, FSP. That's Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Um, and also, guys, hey, we got Fun Pop on Wednesdays. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern. Fun Pop, we got Psychonauts, we got Jasper, and lately 3-Bit's been showing back up. We'll see if we see his face again. Maybe he's going to start to be a mainstay again. I don't know. We'll see. He has more time now since he quit that stupid job that kept him from us all. So thank you, 3-Bit, for
Mhm.
doing that. But no, maybe we'll see him again this Wednesday. I'm not sure. If not, well, I'm sure we'll see him again on another Wednesday. And but yeah, Fun Pop's been a blast as well. So that's again at 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays, Thursdays, PM in the PM. Like I said, Pong, Mav, there. I am Mav. I don't know why I spoke third person, but Pong and I are PM in the PM on Thursdays. We're gonna have a blast, especially this week with the Game Awards co-stream, and then Fridays is the show that started it all, Xbox Ultimate Podcast with the Magnificent Seven. And hey, on Halo launch week, the day after the Game Awards, if you best believe we won't have some things to say on Friday, uh, then you don't know what, because it's gonna be crazy. We're gonna have a blast on Friday. It's gonna be a party. I bet. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I can't
Yeah.
wait for, I can't wait for Thursday. But like even more than that, I can't wait to have our show on Friday night and chill with our friends and family and talk about all this freaking stuff that we're gonna find out this week. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. So Friday's Xbox
Yeah.
Ultimate. And I think we're gonna have a special guest this week with Husk. I gotta make sure his calendar is still full, but I think Husk is gonna be joining us this week for that. And hey,
Nice.
everybody, if you like the stuff we do on this channel, leave a like. Share it out to your uh, followers, friends, family, neighbors, your neighbors' dogs, whoever will listen. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you again. So have a good one. Chat, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys.
Later.
Bye bye.